Welcome to episode 259 of the LinuxLUGcast. We're an open podcast /lug that meets at 9 p.m. Eastern every first and third Friday of the month using mumble. Mumble.
Easy for you to say.
Right?
That's gonna pull
We
that for sure.
We encourage anyone listening to join us and participate on the podcast. Check out LinuxLUGcast for all the server details. If you have any questions, comments, or topics you'd like us to discuss and are unable to join us live during the show, you can send us an email at feedback@linuxlugcast.com. We have a Lemmy community where we post things that we sometimes talk about on the show. How's it going, by the way? Are you still posting things to Lemmy?
I haven't in a little while. I've just been busy with other stuff. And also I've just kind of haven't really watched the news or read online news articles and stuff lately. So when I heard about the stuff that happened over New Year's, I didn't even know about that. I was like, wow. With the New Orleans deal and the guy in the Cybertruck and all that stuff. And
oh yeah. Right.
Boom.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that. So I've been pretty unplugged lately. But as far as I know, it's still working.
Well, that's good.
Much better than Reddit.
We have a Matrix channel where we chat during the daytime or nighttime. Not just we chat.
Now that I do pay attention to. Yeah.
Yes. We have a video version of this. We post on Peertube and YouTube, and we use Jitsi to record the video. Jason, do you need a link to the Jitsi, or do you want a link to the Jitsi?
Yeah, I think I'm having enough trouble with bandwidth tonight. I'm probably not going to join the Jitsi.
Okay.
But thanks.
Just offering it up. All right. I'm your host this evening, Honkey Magoo. With us tonight is Eric.
Good evening.
Jason.
Happy New Year.
Joe.
Yep, I'm here.
Lovecraft.
Hello, everybody.
Minnix.
Hey, bud.
Mortency.
Good morning.
And Netminer.
Good evening.
What time is it where you are, Mortency?
9:39 a.m.
Oh,
you're
okay.
12 hours off. Does that mean you're literally like halfway around the world?
Yeah, he's 13 hours ahead of us.
Yep, I'm the furthest away from my home I could be.
There you go.
Stop that. We all know your home is where L is, and the address is just a detail.
Yep, home is where L is.
All right. So, who wants to start us off? Joe, you want to start us off by showing off your 10-inch rack?
Want to see all of it or just enough to win?
Joe likes
Yes.
to make jokes.
That's actually a reference to a movie that no one's ever watched.
What was the movie?
National Lampoon's Last Resort. Corey Feldman and Corey Haim.
I think I saw it.
Interesting cast. I'm surprised I haven't heard of it.
R.I.P. Corey Haim.
So this is the 10-inch rack. It's coming right along. I am still 3D printing parts. It just takes a long time because the parts use a lot of plastic and they're huge. And so here's where the Netgear switch is going to go. Might move it around to the back or make this the back and this the front. And then I have two shelves that are printed. One that broke actually during printing during the HPR New Year's live show.
Damn.
Yeah, and then I have the back panels, or a back panel so far that I've printed, and a couple of top panels that I printed. And I had to change the STLs for the 2U ones, split them, and then put them together. So that they would actually fit on my print bed. And after that one broke because it was a long, tall print, I modified this print so that I could also print it in 2 pieces together with some small screws. I think that worked out really well, and it seems to be pretty darn stable. You can see that there's I'm pressing down on it pretty good, and there's no real movement there. So I think that's coming along really good. And then I'm currently printing a plate to hold a mini PC. It's supposed to be the same size as the HP mini PCs. But Moss is sending me one of the Think Center minis, no longer using, so I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm thinking about printing a pass-through Ethernet plate, buying some of the fittings pass through, so that way I can loop the Ethernet from the Netgear back around to the inside for however many items I want to put there. I'm also going to print a shelf specifically designed to hold Raspberry Pis, and move some of my less used Raspberry Pis on there. And this all came from the I saw a 10-inch rack online, the Geek Pi 8U server cabinet 10-inch server rack for network servers, audio and video equipment, Desk Pi, Rackmate T1 rack mount.
Hey, hold it up again real quick.
So also, the link to what he's trying to 3D print a version of is both in the show notes and in the mumble chat.
What was is that a silk?
Yes,
PL?
this is.
Okay.
I got this silk, and my daughter might be annoyed that I use it because she got it for me for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I guess I was supposed to 3D print pretty things out of it, but I wanted this, so
That
I
is a
printed
pretty
this.
thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a pretty thing.
I
think.
like
And it's going to get a
I
lot.
think
It's
it
going to
looks
get a
good.
lot of use.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
going to look cool.
You can look at it all the time.
Yep. But no, but I had seen a couple of YouTube videos on this one, and obviously mine's not going to be, as nice as this one, but it costs like $180. And then the individual racks that you can buy are like $20-$30. And I just didn't want to do that, but I kind of wanted to make my own. So I did look for like 3D prints that were complete for these, but I couldn't find anybody that had, actually like made one that wasn't extremely overcomplicated and had like 10,000 parts, and they were saying used like 2 spools or something just for the frame. So I found some of the rails, and I put those together, and they're just 2 4U rails. And then I designed and printed these connectors on them that just go completely over the portion of the rails that's meant to screw into something else. And that allows me to have a total of 8 U's without blocking any of the ports. And I used a 4U on the bottom and the top, but I didn't know if that was the correct length, which is why I was trying to print out a full shelf so that I could make sure that the length was correct. And it's so close that it makes no difference to me, because instead of like both of the outer lips fitting on the outside, one fits on the outside and one fits on the inside. So I can still screw it into place really well, and it holds excellently. And it's very sturdy now that I've actually got stuff in it. Like once I get things in the middle, I think it will be even more sturdy and solid. And then I'm debating whether or not to make handles on the top. After I put my wireless router here, I'm going to redo these and probably move these panels to the back for stability and just for general aesthetic. And then with the shelf on the top and the handles there, it'll basically, if I wanted to like 3D print side panels as well. I'd have to design them myself, but that's not that big a deal. It would basically be very, very equivalent to the GeekPi 8U server cabinet, just a little bit shorter. And I'll probably also eventually print feet, because I have the holes on the bottom too, so I just can screw in some feet on the bottom. And yeah, relatively simple prints all around, but I think I'm really going to enjoy the final product.
Are you going to
Mostly-
keep that in the garage or in the
Yes,
house?
I will. I did consider moving it inside, but then I wouldn't be able to put. Well, I was thinking about moving it inside specifically because of the mini computer that I'm thinking about putting on there.
Mhm.
But if I did that, and then I also took the Netgear inside, that wouldn't work, because then I wouldn't have proper networking out here in my home lab. So
Are you gonna, if you keep it in the garage, are you gonna put some kind of cooling on the rack, or?
I don't think it will be required, but I have thought about putting, either what I can do is, and yes, I have thought about this, is get some 2Us that I can attach right here and extend this back, or a 1U and extend this back, and put fans along the back. Or since I'm going to be designing for the side anyway, it might be better to put like some 120 millimeter fans on the side here.
That's what I did on mine. I put some old case fans on there.
Yeah. Do you have a 10-inch rack?
No, it was like one I custom built out of plexi, and you guys remember that, right? Franken server rack that I had all
Yep.
my SBCs on.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, but I used old case fans for cooling.
Yeah,
It
and I
worked out pretty good.
think I have some floating around, and that should be relatively easy. And I think that the 90 or the 80s or the 120s should fit here pretty well on the side. I've even considered moving all of the hard drives from my DAS onto this, although I'd probably switch to PETG for that. And then I don't know if I could get like 2 or 4. I did it 2U on each set, but right now I'm only using 4, but I eventually want to be able to use a total of 8 hard drives. And
Are
then
you
I'd
gonna
have
put a little power supply in there? Or?
I would have to put a power supply on it at that point, and that would probably mean putting it on the top and making it a little bit taller and putting like an enclosed shelf top.
I bought one of those slim PSUs. I think it was 300 watts, and it was real small. Then I bought the breakout board for it too.
Yeah, I would have to get either the breakout board so that it would turn on when I turned on the PC, or I would have to bridge 2 pins on it if I got one of the 24-pin SATA or ATA or ATX PSUs.
Right. Yeah, it was real cheap too. I bought several of them just in case I screwed one up, and they were less than $5 a piece.
Like the power supply in my DAS does not require that. Got its own switch and everything, and it does not have the 24-pin. All it's got is a bunch of SATA connections on it, and a couple of the old style. What are they? The IDE powers.
Yeah.
That have converters on them.
Molex connector.
Molex, thank you. Connectors with adapters on them for the 80 millimeter fans that are currently in that case that are way too loud that I need to switch out. So I can see myself building on this for a good long time.
It's fun. They're fun.
Or maybe making a second one. Maybe designing my own micro ATX case. Just because spools of plastic are a lot cheaper than buying pre-made.
Yep.
Do you have the STLs up anywhere?
It's fun too.
No, most of these STLs that I'm getting are stuff that's already there that I just put together. I mean, the 4Us are on Thingiverse. Just look up rack rail 4U. And then, like, these I designed in like 5 minutes, and that's it. And then this, I think, was on Yegi, which is for the Netgear. And the shelves were also on Thingiverse, or Yegi, one of the two. But yeah, if you do a search on Thingiverse or any 3D printing site for 10-inch server rack, you are going to get a lot of stuff. Just nobody, like, I think I found one guy that had put the whole thing together himself, but he did it with his own design, and like I said, it was just way overdone. Oh, and then I got this controller board for the, what is it, the Toshiba monitors. I will have to get a second one, but I haven't tested this yet. I just got it in the mail yesterday. I want to 3D print a case for it that I found. Oh, what site was it? Because it wasn't Thingiverse that had that one. It was Printables. Printables actually had the correct model. But I will have to go with something else because for the control board, because a lot of people have control boards that are exactly the same. So I will have to look up a different set of STLs for the control board. But I'm going to get that all put together and then probably order a second one. And I have one power supply, so I'll have to order another power supply. But I'm going to make myself a couple of portable monitors out of those. I'll do it with the first one and see how I like it, and then see what other prints I can make to actually, you know, make it stand up or make it mountable to standard 1/4-inch bolts so that it's adjustable. Might be too heavy for that, but I'm going to give it a shot. And then with the HDMI connection, I might replace this mini portable monitor that I have right here, something a little bit bigger, and see how it works out. I use that for hooking up my Samsung phone and a couple of other things. Testing out new equipment. So when I get my rack done, it'll probably end up with the mini PC on that. It'll probably end up connected up to the HDMI on that. Other than that, you already heard me talking about the headphones that I'm planning on working on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it for me. What you guys been up to?
Well, so I was having problems, a weird problem with my email, and I just use the web client all the time, so I didn't really notice this it was happening. But if I'm using iRead Mail, oh, what's that?
Sorry.
Was that Mortensey? Oh, hi, Mortensey.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Mortensey. Yeah. Is it a DNS problem?
Yes, yes. I posted about it in the Matrix.
Mort, you're overdriving terribly.
Coming in hot, buddy. So, the way I have it set up is just this. I won't go through how to set up a mail server. It's intense, but so I just have I'm using iRead Mail and a Proxmox container and on a Linux host and all that, and I have it proxied through Nginx proxy manager, the web interface, and I've got all my regular ports open that you need for a mail server, so that it can talk to other mail servers. Anyway, and so I had no issues setting up Thunderbird with my email address. It detected all the settings and everything as long as I was outside of my network, and I could send and receive emails and things like that. But once I was in my network, Thunderbird just quit working. Like there was a connection error. It couldn't find the mail server itself in my network. And so what it was that when it looked for the domain, my mail server domain, it couldn't find the machine itself, like the IP address. And I was like, man, why is this happening in my network, but not outside my network? So what it was is outside my network, I'm using my public DNS, which directs traffic, to my ISP given IP address, and the mail server domain is there too. But inside the network, all it sees is the mail server domain, but it doesn't see the IP address of the actual machine. So it doesn't, I can ping it, but I can only ping the IP address. I can't ping the domain of the machine, the host name, which is the same as domain on my mail server. And so it was a DNS issue. So I needed to get those two things synced up, the domain and the IP address of the machine. And so I just went into my trusty Pi-hole, which is also a DNS server, and added the domain, the mail server domain, and added the IP address into the DNS records, and boom, it fixed everything. Thunderbird was fixed. Nextcloud had no issues sending me emails because that's within my LAN as well. So it was just a DNS issue. Because the reason I had messed around with it in the first place was I didn't have my cert on the mail server itself, the Let's Encrypt cert, to renew automatically. So I was setting that up because it had expired and stuff, and so I was having all these issues. So I thought that's what I had renewed it and set up a cron job to renew it. And so I thought it had to do with the cert, and I couldn't figure stuff out until I started running like NS lookup and stuff and realized, hey, no, this is some kind of...
Is it just me, or is Minnix shut down?
I think it's just you, because I can hear him just fine.
I hear him.
Yeah,
Do y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay. So, so yeah, that's when I figured out it was a DNS issue, and those things can drive you nuts if that's not what you're looking for. But Pi-hole saved the day, and because that's my DNS server, since it has to be to block all the ads in my network, and so that fixed that. My WireGuard server is acting up. I can connect to my home LAN, but I can only access things within my network. I can't access the internet once I'm connected to WireGuard for some reason. And I tried to get things working. It's on a Rock 64 with Armbian, and I'm gonna give up and reinstall Armbian because all I did to set it up in the first place was install WireGuard Manager once I installed Armbian, and that basically sets everything up for you, which is a very handy tool, WireGuard Manager. It's in the repos, and WireGuard's in the kernel, so very fast, very quick, and you will dump OpenVPN in a heartbeat once you start using WireGuard. As far as like projects, I installed Proxmox on this little Lenovo ThinkCentre, kind of 1 liter PC. And I'm not sure what I'm going to use that for yet, but it'll go into my nodes. and installed Debian VM and Proxmox on my main server to act as my render server for the videos and stuff. I had done that before, and then I needed some space or some memory or something, but I had to delete it. But now I did it again, and so I've gave it 16 gigs and 8 cores, and it should be nice and fast and quit melting my laptop when I'm rendering video for the show. And so can't really think of much else I've done as far as tech-wise. Played lots of games, but I can get into that later. Board games, that is. What about you guys?
Well, on New Year's Eve, I spent most of my time playing around with some new hardware. I got the Orange Pi. Was a 03 4 gigabyte, which is a nice little machine. And I wound up putting Armian and Nginx on, and because I was still having problems, so I set it up initially and did what I had been doing so far to distribute the audio for the podcast, and that was to just use a quick little Python script. And I was having the exact same. So half the reason why I wanted to get this single board computer was to because it had gig Ethernet on it, and the other single board computers I've been using for this only had 100
Megabit
Ethernet on it. So I was thinking that might have been the bottleneck, but it was still having a problem. I tested it out. Some people who download the podcast through the RSS will notice that I had republished episode 1, also known as episode 0 of the LinuxLUGcast. I had downloaded it for a test and was still running into a problem. Well, actually, the OGG it would find the OGG, or it wouldn't. The OGG wouldn't time out, but the MP3 would time out. So, and then on New Year's Eve, during the podcast, I decided I was just going to, try the thing that Minnix had suggested back in episode, 250, 3 or something, where you suggested running an Nginx and just setting up a little com file in Nginx, and that did it. And I set that up, and it worked so much better. So
I wonder what that Python script is doing to screw with
I don't know, because you even said when you were able to see the files, but it took you a while to download them too.
It took a long time.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with it, but it seems like it's such a very basic script. I don't know. But I put Nginx on it and Nginx to serve up the audio, and tested it out, and it worked absolutely beautifully. So now I have it all set up. So
now you were going to try and link it to another computer, another hard drive, or something, or where you stored the files?
Right now I have. I had because I had set up the symlink to the original audio files, because original audio file I still have. The files. It was on a small thumb drive. It's about the size of. I got one very similar to it here. Hold on. All it is a little 512 gig, little SanDisk thumb drive, and I had put. It's been on that. Just kind of the audio files for the last several shows have been on that, and they've just been kind of floating around from machine to machine. And so when the part of the Nginx script it needed to be in the var www file, and so I just did a symlink to that. I mounted the USB drive and then did a symlink to it, and I wound up doing not a hard symlink, but
soft link.
A soft symlink, yeah, and that seemed to work. So I now have it all set up. So. Now it should. Everything just works.
Nice.
It's all everything's working. I'm wondering now whether I can run Nginx on a smaller single or another single board computer that I really don't use or isn't as powerful as that, and free that one back up for something else, if it would still work as well. But
Well, for sure.
right now, I have it working, and I really don't want to screw it up again. So it might just stay like this for a while. So another thing I've been trying to work on. So we gave my daughter a phone for her birthday back in October, and she has some music and she wants to be able to listen to the music. But we had given her she had gotten a couple of like CDs. She likes Taylor Swift and my son likes Imagine Dragons. So there's probably a collection of about 4 Taylor Swift albums and like 2 Imagine Dragon albums that I ripped for him. And I wanted to have something for that she could be able to listen to it on her phone. And I didn't want to. I don't want to set her up with any of the streaming services right now. But we have Amazon Music. But Amazon Music, we have the very basic package for it, and all it is I mean, if only one person can use it at a time, which works out fine considering we mostly use it through the Alexa devices around the house. But like during the past month, which was during Christmas time, my wife would have it on at the house. So if she has Amazon Music set up, so if nobody else is using it, she can use it. But during Christmas time, I mean, it was being used all the time at the house, so she wasn't able to really use it. And so I wanted to set up a audio thing for some sort of an audio server for her. Initially, I was just going to use Funkwhale because Funkwhale is great.
Well, there's a bunch that you can use. I mean, Subsonic, Audio Bookshelf, frickin' LibreSonic, Mediasonic. Let's see, Plex. If you already have Plex set up, then use that.
But that's so I've kind of head down that rabbit hole. I've basically started off because Diet Pie by default has several in their little quick install repositories. So I've tried 2 so far. I've tried Apache and I've tried AirSonic. None of which I really liked. So the first thing I tried to do was I tried to use Funkwhale because I like Funkwhale. But Funkwhale's whole design is more for sharing than it is for not sharing. So I created a library for her, and that was great. And then when she was able to connect, she was able to see her library, but at the same time, she was able to see basically all of mine and Danny's library because both of ours are completely open and shared, especially between the 2 of us. And I couldn't figure out a way to be able to block my library and still keep it shared between, like being open, because I wanted to keep it open between Danny and I. So she would have access to her library. I had her library as private, and then she would be able to see everything else that's basically on Funkwhale. So I didn't really want that, so I wanted to set up her own server. Apache is kind of crappy, especially when it comes to trying to play the audio on like the web server. It doesn't. Let's put it this way: it would probably be fine just if you're playing it on like a laptop or a computer. On mobile, it doesn't adjust very well. So like the great thing about Funkwhale is it adjusts great. I could use either one of the Funkwhale apps or just use the website itself, the web server itself, and it works out great. But this does not. I mean, it did not look good at all. So I was hoping, because of using the I have AirSonic, but it's the Sonic API. Using the Subsonic API, so that's why I tried AirSonic, and AirSonic was basically just as bad. And I tried connecting with one of the There are several apps that are focused on the subsonic API, Dubsonic, and there's several others that just have the word sonic at the end of it. I think some of them I couldn't get to work right. I'm not sure if I was just because I threw it on the same thing that I had Apache on already, and some of it was just, it wasn't any good either. So now I'm still kind of on the search for something good. I don't want to put something large like a Plex or like even like Jellyfin or other things like that are still relatively large because they went over some of the I don't know. Quick and dirty method would be through the diapipe stuff. So software they have top. Cody, no, it's way too big. See, I've never tried any of the MPD stuff. There's YMPD, MyMPD, OMPD, Kava, Mopedy. I thought about Mopedy.
It'd be nice to find something that had a decent Android client too, your mobile client.
I've
Right?
used Mopedy in the past, but I was
Yeah.
using Mopedy to control music on my computer from my phone.
Okay, it seemed kind of more like that. See, I really liked Jellyfin. I mean, yeah, Jellyfin Funkwhale. I thought Funkwhale was great, but it's not designed that way though.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on now. Is I'm trying to find an audio client or audio server that would be just simple, basic. Either it works really well with an app, or even just had a good web UI. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, I used to really like Subsonic, and then Subsonic split off into everything else. And then every time I'd find a different one, with different add-ons or whatever, the issue got to be that they'd quit updating it. And then it would slowly start to suck.
Yeah, so that was my hope with AirSonic, but it was sucking too.
And honestly, Audio Bookshelf seems like, it kind of took the ideas from Subsonic.
Mm.
But I don't know how well it would work with music.
I don't know. It's not built for music though.
Yeah. It is built for audio though.
That's true.
But the transitioning would be a problem from one song to the next.
Right.
But it does audiobooks, it does ebooks, and it does podcasts really well. I just started listening to podcasts again. Probably need some suggestions on good podcasts.
LinuxLUGcast.
Not that
Those
one.
guys suck.
Oh, you're crazy.
One host with a beard seems like an ass.
He is a little special. All right. The Lenovo Think Center is gone.
What's wrong with it?
Oh, I mean, it was my little media computer for LugBot, but now it's a Proxmox node, so I have more desk space.
Oh,
You should build a 10-inch rack and, build upwards.
But that frees up this cool little monitor I have. Little tiny monitor.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. Somehow you can see it. The only thing I don't like about it is it doesn't have full-size HDMI. Got like, it's not micro HDMI, mini HDMI. Yeah, but it's got you can use barrel jack power or you can use USB-C. I like that a lot about it.
Will it do USB-C video?
Yes. Oh, you know what? I don't know, Joe. I shouldn't say that so quick. I doubt it. It's pretty cheap. It was the AliExpress special. I
Well,
think that's just for power, I think. I don't know for sure, though.
I have one that will do like USB video, but it is also pretty cheap, and because of that, it tends to cut in and out. So it's better for me to use USB-C for power and then HDMI for the video.
Can you use both power and video at the same time on the same USB-C port? Does that work?
I usually use an external power supply, but
I mean, is that possible?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I don't see why you couldn't.
All right. So, about the New Year's show, anything interesting?
Oh, we still
Talk
got to
about-
ask Lovecraft what he's working on.
Oh, yeah, Lovecraft.
Netminer.
Definitely Netminer.
Well, I got the 3D printer set up, and I think tomorrow might be the day to try a print. So,
Nice.
yeah, that's I talked to my buddy who gave it to me today, and that's what he suggested. We kind of went over some of the settings, and also it's set up and dusted off, powered it on, and he gave me a couple of tips and stuff. So I may try something tomorrow.
Nice. Do you ever figure out what you have, whether it's PLA or PET-G?
It is PLA.
It's easier to start with.
Now, what did you say it was? The Ender 5?
Ender 5 Plus or Pro. I think it's Plus. Yeah.
Still, man, a Core XY is your first printer. That's and you got it for free. That's
free always tastes better.
really awesome.
What's Core XY?
That means that instead of a bed slinger like yours and mine, the bed moves back and forth. On this one, the bed moves up and down, and it's just the print head that moves back and forth. It actually uses less power. You can make them go faster with the proper settings. I think the Ender 5, you have to do quite a bit of switching out of like the print head in order to actually get it to go faster because of flow rate. Otherwise, you're still stuck at that 155 millimeters per second range that others are stuck at. But once you get that swapped out, you have to go in and do some firmware changes, but you can make it print a lot faster. Not like bamboo speeds, but still.
Are y'all using the flat pack version of Mumble or from the repos?
Repo.
Repos, I'm pretty sure.
They even have a flat pack of Mumble?
I'm pretty sure they do, but I have tried multiple versions of Mumble because we occasionally had the issue with what was it? Preventing Mumble from the certificate, SSL certificate or something like that. So I tried a couple of different versions to see what was updated instead of actually looking up the proper fix.
I should, for the Lugcast Mumble server, I should implement a proper cert. Not hard to do. Anything else, Lovecraft? What about the little, didn't you have a little computer that was a, was it a tablet or? I don't remember.
Oh, the Surface that I was playing with about a few months ago. Yeah, I haven't really revisited that. I mean, I was on vacation this week, but a good part of the week was tied up dealing with the issue with the deer I hit last Friday coming home from work. So that kind of sucked.
That'll do it.
Yeah, it was a bunch of phone calls and stuff, and I'll find out on Monday if my car is actually totaled or not.
Damn, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I came over a little rise in the road, and deer was in the center, on the center line running at me. So
damn.
yeah, it was pretty messed up. So yeah, the whole bumper is off. The headlights are busted. There's blood and fur all over the hood. The hood's busted up. The
Over or under?
Over and to the side.
So windshield?
The windshield didn't get broken, but
lucky bastard.
He managed to scamper. So, but yeah, the airbag off. The sensor was blinking after the impact. I'm like, I don't know what the hell. I'm real comfortable trying to drive this thing. So.
And you didn't even get dinner.
No. It was a whole mess, and apparently it happened like 6:30 on Friday night, and it took me till Tuesday to get my car towed to the body shop because the insurance companies didn't really do anything with it. And on Monday they're like, "Oh, we got to check with the body shop to see if we can take the car there, and then we got to get approval because we can't just show up with it." It was a whole mess. So that sucked.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, at least you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing, a bunch of money won't fix.
Yeah, right. That's most problems. Throw enough money at them, they go away. Ask Trump. But, okay, so, Net, how about you?
Well, I've been going to reinstall Linux on a 1-liter PC, and I've been doing some personal writing, and that's been about it. Recovering from being up over 24 hours on the New Year's show and stuff.
Oh, did you stay up the whole time?
More or less.
What did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah. Tremendously.
Did you learn anything new or meet any new people?
Yeah, I met somebody from Scandinavia that I can recall, probably a couple of other people. A young fellow who has Asperger's like I do. He went by Fred Black. I don't know if that's really his name or a handle.
Oh, I saw him on the Jitsi.
Yeah.
What was he playing? Was he playing some kind of instrument? Were you on there, Honkey?
He had violins on the wall. I'm not sure if he ever played them.
Yeah, he had. What was he playing, Netminer? Do you know?
He brought something else out he played.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was called, though, but it was wild looking.
It was a wild thing that was played. It was played flat with. It had a bunch of buttons on one side, and it was played with a small bow.
It had like keys and strings, right? Or buttons and strings?
Yes, buttons and strings, and it was played with a small bow, which was absolutely wild. Also, I understand it's not available assembled. Anyone who they have to get the kit, assemble it, and all of the like his instrument was built by somebody. He says it was 30 years older than he was, so it was somebody's handcrafted treasure.
It was pretty cool looking. I didn't get to hear it because I wasn't on the stream. I just saw it on Jitsi, making sure the video was still working. But I saw him with it in his lap.
Yeah, he played it for a little bit. It was really cool.
What does it sound like?
It's kind of hard to describe, but
Does it
Yeah, it
sound
was
like a
definitely-
stringed instrument? Or?
Yeah, I would say so. I can't even remember the name of it. It had some. It was kind of a long name, but it was cool. It was really interesting to watch him play it, though. I was impressed. He brought it out, and I was like, "Oh, you going to play for us?" And kind of goaded him a little bit, and he started playing it, and I was like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah. Thank you for letting us use the Jitsi, because I think it was a big addition to the show as well.
Oh, nice. I'm glad you could get some use out of it. So I know I remember seeing on the chat, Jitsi chat, that someone was complaining they couldn't get their audio to work on the Jitsi, and I tried to explain it was muted by default so that the mumble stream wouldn't interfere with the mumble stream. I don't know if they ever got the message or not.
I don't know.
But yeah, I'm glad it didn't crash, did it? Well, it did
No.
when you left.
Yeah. No, well, that was I think the Wi-Fi on this laptop will time out if I don't know, after a while.
Yeah. But
So it did something where it just all my Wi-Fi dropped off. I had to come back in and re-sign in.
Lovecraft was nice enough to keep it going.
Yeah, I think it stayed up for a while, and all that. I was in and out for quite a bit, and Pokey got on like later at night, like maybe like 11 or something like that. I was talking to him for a little bit.
Yeah.
He was talking about some salami and
Yeah.
some of the traveling and stuff that he does. I actually wrote down the salami place. I might check it out.
Oh, is it close to you?
Nah, they do like mail order. It's
Oh, okay.
Vermont salami, wasn't it?
Vermont salumi.
Yeah.
Is, how the guy's stuff. He said he like studied the fine art of salami in Italy or something like that.
The fine art of salami.
But
Fine art of salami.
Pokey said he swears by it, so.
Hey, Danny,
Yeah,
did you see that it's supposed to be like 10 degrees on Monday?
not 10 degrees, like 20.
10
I think.
degrees on Monday with the wind chill.
With wind chill, okay.
That's
I did.
well into the, what's that range called? Oh, yeah, the fuck no range.
So what I have right now is 22 on Sunday and 23 on Monday. 25, 29, 33.
I'm good.
We're going to be
I
getting
know.
some
We
y'all's
got
Power
dusted today.
outages.
Snow.
Did you?
Yeah, Sunday night into Monday we're supposed to get more snow.
Going to be power outages. People are going to be freezing to death.
Oh, yeah. I'm fully expecting that. I got my generator gassed up.
What's his name will be on vacation.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, well, it's going to be in the 20s next week with 23-mile-an-hour wind chill, which back of the envelope usually means something close to zero effective.
I got some technology for Christmas.
What'd you get?
I got a new shaver, electric shaver. It's really good, Panasonic. I had their basic model before, and which is fine, but it takes you a little while to shave compared to this new one, which has like 5 blades, and it's like it has a sensor on it that knows like how hard you're pressing, and if there's more resistance, like you have a bigger beard, it'll like ramp up the power and stuff. It's really cool. And swiveling head and all of that stuff, self-cleaning. Yeah, I like it. It's awesome. Shave really fast with it. Got what else did I get? I didn't get the vibrating football set, the electric football game. Maybe she was talking about the shaver instead of the football game when she was talking about something vibrating. I don't know. We had like a white elephant Christmas. Do y'all have that? Do y'all,
Yeah.
you and your family ever do that?
Well, not in the family. Work does that a lot.
Yeah, so we don't have really kids in the family anymore, so we just do the white elephant thing, and
That's because you're not doing your job.
I think it's because I am doing my job and worrying.
What is a white elephant Christmas?
So, have you heard of a Yankee swap or anything?
Yes.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's just you have a pile of, everybody brings one present. You don't know what it is, and the first person draws. Well, we usually hand out numbers, so whoever has number 1 goes first. They draw whatever present they want, and when they unwrap it, if somebody likes it, they can steal it. And each present can be stolen twice. And when somebody steals your present, you just grab another one. And at the very end,
Steal or grab a new one.
yeah, the very first person gets to go again at the very end, since they didn't have a chance to. You know, they got their present stolen. So, what did I get? I think I got a hat that had like a light on it or something.
We're popular this year.
Yeah, it was like a toboggan with like a rechargeable headlamp on it. It's actually really bright. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like it. Also,
okay.
it means you don't have to leave the porch lights on.
Oh, do you have one?
Yeah, you don't have to leave the porch lights on if you're going to be out of an evening to announce, hey, there's nobody home.
Yeah, I haven't worn it yet, but it looks like it could be pretty handy.
Well, it's not that bright, but if you need to, it has enough light to light up like the keyhole so you can unlock the door when you need to get in. It's just enough light for,
Actually,
close-up stuff. Yeah, for close-up stuff, it's not going to be.
This one's actually pretty bright. I don't know if you can see that.
Where is it?
That's it right there. But
Turn the light off for a second and then hold it back up so that
What?
see the hat.
He's already black and white, anyways.
So that's kind of how bright it is. It's pretty bright,
Well, I ended up ordering one for my son from AliExpress that also has Bluetooth speakers in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's it. Like that.
Pretty sure it because I ordered one for him and I ordered one for the brother-in-law. And I'm pretty sure they didn't get given for Christmas. They got lost in a closet somewhere, so they'll probably get given in July.
The only thing about this hat is it uses 2 watch batteries. It's kind of a bummer
fun.
instead of being. But I do have rechargeable. What are they? CR2032s. Because I have some motion sensors that use those. So. Did you try the speaker one, Joe?
I did not. They were in the package still, and
I wonder how
like
it sounds.
I said, yep. Good. You're not.
Oh, I think I was asking about Etherpad and the Matrix.
Yeah.
Because I had installed it through Unohost, and it wouldn't let me access the admin page, the Unohost package, so I uninstalled it. But I think I mentioned this before. I'm not a big fan of Unohost when it comes to stuff that you need to depend on. But I did find a really good replacement for Shell in a Box, which I think we've talked about before, which is basically it's the terminal in your browser. So so it's called HTTPSH on TTYD. Let me put that in the show notes. Let's see. And it's it supports, copy and paste without having to hold shift, and just like you're using a regular browser. Trying to find the GitHub for it. Maybe it's just called HTTPSH.
Yeah, I think mine is much smaller than that. It just uses the light module is just rechargeable itself. And
Is it? I wish mine was.
And this is, but yours is much, much brighter. All I've got is 4 little LEDs, which does the job, but it just means that when the battery dies, there's no replacing it. You have to get another hat. Which, by the way, I have done, so I have a backup.
Well, that depends on how well you can sew.
Okay, here it is. It's called HTTPSH. And it's really nice. I just put the GitHub link in there. So either install it there, or you can install it through Unohost. So I think I'm going to install, I was going to install Etherpad on the little Wise thin client I got, but I think I'm going to save that for some kind of monitoring, maybe glances or something like that, and install Etherpad. Don't you have it on a little SBC, Honkey? For the show notes?
Etherpad's on one of my on my Banana Pi.
Yeah,
really old.
I've got a few old SBCs. I can put it on one of there. It doesn't take much.
No,
Etherpad.
not at all. It's mine's actually in a Docker container.
But yeah, HTTPSH I recommend. You can just do Control X, Control V, Control C, all that stuff. Just like you're in a regular browser, except it's terminal interface. I don't know. I haven't tried to adjust. I think it has a config file where you can adjust colors and fonts and things like that. Let's see. So I haven't messed with that.
What is it called again?
I'll put the link in the show notes. It's called HTTPSH. Secure Shell and Browser. Also supports password authentication. And failed to ban.
What about you, Eric? Have you been working on anything?
I have not been doing. I'm sitting here thinking, like, racking my brain. Is there is there anything I've done even remotely technical? And no, I had a really rough November. Was in the hospital for a couple weeks, and then recovering from that, and then going into the holidays, and yeah, I've pretty much just been existing. So
How are you doing now?
I'm a lot better. Yeah, I actually had a good holiday. I was bummed out because I had a butt problem at the beginning of November, and I'm like thinking, man, this is gonna ruin Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it ended up being okay. Thanksgiving was a little rough, but like Christmas was fun. Got to go away. We usually take a vacation around Christmas, just kind of get an Airbnb somewhere and just hang out, in a town for a week, and so it was fun. And then got back and had a lazy New Year's, and kind of just jumped right back into everything this week. And yeah, so I'm feeling a lot better. Like I've recovered mostly now, so that's good. And yeah, I don't know, man. Just being sick. It's funny. Like I realize that most people get sick, like especially if they have like a hospitalization or something. I was telling a therapist this today because it's my perspective on this is so different from most people's, having a chronic illness for so long now. Like I'm always going to be at the doctor's office next week. Like it is just a continuous part of my life, and so I'm always in contact with my medical team, with just being part of that scene. And so, like my therapist today is asking me all these questions, and I'm like, I get it. Like you have to ask these questions because you probably see a person who's been to the hospital and hasn't had any contact with any other medical personnel, and like, so yeah, it's just funny because my life has been this way for almost 10 years now, and it's different. So anyway, that's a very long answer to say no. I really haven't done anything technical. I'm feeling much better, and I'm looking forward to being able to do more. I've got like all kind of deferred stuff. Even dumb stuff like when we left for the hurricane, I put all of my computer stuff up on my desk instead of being underneath of it. I still haven't had the chance to like move it all back under there and like set it all back up. I want to replace my Wi-Fi network because it's kind of bunk. It works, but it's not great. Just want something better. What else? My NAS is going out of support this year. So I have a Synology NAS that I've had for 10 years, and it has been absolutely flawless. Like it's been a wonderful piece of hardware, but they've decided to just stop supporting that model, which I get. It's been a decade. I don't know how long you expect someone to support something. So, but it kind of leaves me in the lurch. Like, do I try to install some kind of a distro on it? Like, I don't even know if I really can. I think it's a kind of like a, I don't know if it's an ARM processor. I don't know if it's like that or some like maybe some sort of an Intel. I don't even, honestly, it's been so long since I bought it. I don't even really remember what the specs are, but it's the type of thing I threw it in a closet and it's just been chugging away ever since. I do cloud uploads. Like I have offsite back up to a separate server just in case it, dies on me. But yeah, I'm kind of painted into a corner there and like forced to do something about it. So either I can put something on it and keep it running, which is, I hate to not keep using it. It's working fine. But if I have to, I guess I'll do something else. And like all my decisions are heavily swayed towards like what could my wife deal with if like I'm having an issue or you know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
all of the stuff that all of my friends do, like you guys, I think, yeah, it'd be cool to do some of that, but then it's like, my wife would never have a clue how to deal with any of it. So yeah.
What kind of specs does it have?
That's what I'm trying to remember. I think it's like I want to say it's like a Celeron almost, or something around there, or an Atom, maybe an Atom processor.
So
it's
a
kind
low
of along
power.
those lines. Yeah, I mean it's the type that you could put a Plex server on it, and it could do some, some of the streaming and encoding, but it would be terribly overloaded. You know what I mean? Especially anything over probably 1080p, if it could even do that. So I never
Sure.
even bothered to run much on it. I've done like networking stuff on it. You can run like Pi-hole kind of stuff on it. You can, do DNS on it. You can do all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, Synology's got a pretty cool ecosystem for stuff that they support. You can actually run like Docker containers on it and stuff, as long as it's all sort of like lightweight and not too processor intensive.
So it's their own OS.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think it's almost like I want to say it's a BSD, but it might be a Linux base. But it's like that. I mean, it's just all web interface. You can use a terminal, so you can do SSH to it. There's a command line. So, I mean, it is like a proper operating system. It's pretty heavily gated, which, I mean, you'd kind of expect for something they have to support. But I mean, it's met every need that I've had as a small, home office kind of thing with my wife using it and me using it. And I've had for a long time a process where it backs up from any local computer to the NAS, and then it will stream out, offload another copy onto a cloud server, so I have multiple points of failure for backups. And but
how much storage?
It's just been such a right now it's got like, it's laughably small compared to what you guys probably have, but it's like 4 terabytes.
That's a lot. I don't have much storage, just because I don't store a lot of stuff. Like these guys are data hoarders,
Yeah, I don't either.
I know. When I hear people like, "Oh, I've got like 40 terabytes," I'm like, "What the hell are you storing?"
Yeah.
But anyway, and that's with like, I've got my movie collection, music, but I am not a hoarder. I'm definitely not a hoarder. I have a couple hundred movies and all stuff that I have, the DVDs. I just was backing them up and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah. So I'm not exactly sure. It's like, I could probably live without it. I used to use it more than I do now, in terms of just needing like a third, or an independent storage solution versus having storage just in different computers. And so I could probably eliminate it, but at the same time, like, if I could get something that's a little more modest, maybe, or I think I paid around $600, 10 years ago.
Right.
And I have to say that, for that price, like, it definitely paid for itself. I mean, and so I'm sure I could do something cheaper than that, but it replaced a Debian system that had been running for probably 7 or 8 years before that. That was just like an old Dell Optiplex, tower system with, 4 disks in it, and Debian running an array, and like Bacula, and just some basic kind of stuff like that. But yeah, at the time I was really busy with work, and it was the same thing. I was never home. I was always on the road, and it was like, you know what? I just don't have the time to mess with this. So what NAS solutions are out there? And I remember Synology and like maybe a few other ones at that point that were viable. And I just kind of thought, okay, this one looks good. 4-bay, setup, and yeah. So yeah, I'll just have to see if, like I said, if I can get something running on it. I think I probably will try to. The biggest challenge, I think, is going to be, it has a kind of proprietary file or disk format. It's like a file. What am I trying to think? A file system. So it's this specific Synology, but which I think is like a Btrfs, and it's like a layer on top of a Btrfs, and like maybe
so you can do
LDFS
snapshots and
or
stuff.
something. Yeah. So I don't know like how I'll be able to, if I can do like an in-place upgrade and have a new OS understand what's there, or if I'll have to do some sort of a migration, or what the deal is. But um, yeah, I don't know, because the other thing is I don't really have it facing. There's no external access to it. So it's not like if it doesn't get a security patch within, a certain amount of time, like I feel like it's a major security risk.
All right.
And there are things I could even do to harden that even further. So like I could probably just put my head in the sand for another year or two if I was really had to, but it's not something I can ignore forever. So I'll probably just start looking for options. But yeah, other than that, yeah, the Wi-Fi thing, I did some research, and I used to have the Google Home stuff, the Google Wi-Fi years ago, and then I actually now have the Synology Wi-Fi because I enjoy their NAS so much. I got their Wi-Fi stuff, the mesh networking, and it's fine. Like I like that it has a lot of filtering and controls and stuff for the content. Like I just, for my daughter's devices, whether it's her phone or not, laptop or whatever, I just add it to a group, and then that group has policies in terms of like uh, almost like a Raspberry Pi or something, or a Pi hole, like where you're basically telling it like what types of websites she can go to, and so there's kind of like a automatic blacklist sort of thing. It gets updated, and also I can control the hours that she has access to the internet and different stuff like that. So, and also it has like a really nice web interface where a lot of networking equipment has pretty crappy web-based interface. So I kind of went with that, and it's just, I feel like the hardware, like they cheaped out on the hardware, unfortunately, and I think it was probably like a cost-cutting thing to stay competitive with like not being too expensive. And honestly, I wish they would have just done better on the hardware, and I would have paid an extra $50, or something per unit, because like when it restarts, it takes a solid 5 minutes for these things to come up. And it's just like, is this ever gonna come on? Is it broken? Like, so, and that's, I mean, I guess that's maybe not such a big deal, but it just feels like it's overtaxed in a way, Um, and sometimes the mesh doesn't stay connected. I have a wired backhaul to have like halfway around the house, like so that it's not just Wi-Fi network only, and like it doesn't seem to help as much as I thought it would. And I don't know. It's never been stellar. It's good, but it's not great. And I've just heard better things about like some TP-Link devices and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna maybe see what it takes to do that. My house though has stucco walls on the inside. So if you know, stucco has that metal mesh underneath, that lathing material, which almost makes it like a Faraday cage. So even though it's a one level home, like I have to have all these Wi-Fi points because like the signal just does not carry. So so I kind of need a mesh network. So, but I think that's it. I don't know. I could keep going, I guess, but I don't know that there's anything else worth talking about.
That would make it good.
Oh, I wanted to mention too, just very briefly, I didn't participate on the 24-hour New Year's thing stream, but as you saw me comment on Element, like on Matrix, I jumped in at a very interesting time.
Oh yeah, that was about the old growth forest, right?
The manscaping conversation.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Old growth forest.
When I heard I get the crew cut for the summer, I was leaving it. So.
It's pretty great.
It was excellent. Oh god.
Morton, see, didn't you have a Synology Neds?
Yes, I absolutely hate it.
Because you initially tried to put, did you ever try to use the Synology software, or did you like right off the bat try to put something else on?
Nope. It's Synology software.
Oh, okay.
I think that's just proof of how lazy I am, frankly. Because it is pretty severely dumbed down. Although it does let you do, I don't know. I guess it's all in what you expect out of it.
You know, I was thinking, since you got all that storage, but it's a low power server, that would be good to a good like PC backup server, like backing up your archives and stuff like Borg backup, or use a tool like that on there if you could install like a vanilla Debian, or even if Synology has something like that, and you could do
they have kind of a sort of their own version of something like that, and I have used it. It works pretty well. I mean, I have my laptop. I have 2 laptops, and my wife has her main system, and then I have a desktop, and my daughter has a laptop. So like 5 computers really, and I mean, honestly, everything my
I have
daughter
more than that
does,
in this
it's really-
room.
I was about to say that's small potatoes, buddy. No
I
telling how
know,
many
I know,
have.
which is it's funny to me because I'm always like hearing people talk about the stack of laptops they have and buying more, and I'm just like, why do you need more? But I'm just not a hoarder. I drives me crazy if I have a bunch of stuff, and I just like I purge regularly, like to get rid of things, because I can't handle it. Just bothers me. So I don't know if it's like an OCD thing or what, but I can't handle having a bunch of stuff packed away. And I'm not a collector. I've never done like baseball cards or coins, or like my life is as stripped down, as simple as it can be. So that goes with everything else technology wise as well. So
Honestly, sometimes that sounds real nice.
it is. It is. Because my wife's not like that. So we I guess we complement each other, maybe, if that's how that you could be kind to say it that way. But yeah, my
Or
wife's like
you
a
negate
goldfish.
each
like
other. That's another way of saying it.
Yeah. I always joke with her and tell her she's like a goldfish, because supposedly a certain fish will grow as big as the space you give them. And I feel like every open surface she ever sees, like it's just a place to put something. Like it's not that that space could be left open. Like it has to be utilized. Anyway, but yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it would be good as a background, anything background, right? Anything it doesn't have to do actively, it would be good for that. So backup system. It's not a bad file. Like I do all of my media on it, and I actually just I have an Ethernet, decent enough Ethernet connection between it and my desktop, which is actually running like my Plex server and all of my media stuff. And so, like, I don't have any of the files on my desktop; they're all on the NAS, and so I stream everything over the network, and it does really well with that. So, I mean, as a NAS, it functions well. And like I said, I've tried other things over the years on it. I did run a Docker something or other on it years ago. And yeah, it's not for the money. I think you could do a lot better if you're an IT person. I mean, if you understand how to set up anything remotely close to that. I mean, setting up a RAID array on any given Linux distribution or BSD or whatever, and then just having the file system, file servers, or sorry, the file systems, and then whatever sort of networking that's behind that. The configuration to do all that stuff is pretty straightforward and simple. It's just anything beyond that, is a little more can be more complicated, and so, like I don't know, I may not even replace it with something like I said, but if I can get something running on a third party and have it just be, just have it work. Again, the laziness. If I could just make it work with little effort, then I'll do it. But either it's just going to stay where it is, or I guess I'll be forced to replace it at some point.
Yeah, my synology didn't fit my needs or what I expected it to be able to do, and that was all based on what somebody else told me I could do with it.
I would imagine if you thought that it had any kind of horsepower whatsoever, because it is definitely not powerful, like in the slightest. So, like I had to do some indexing and like stuff that was more processor intensive, and it will take a very long time because it's a pretty low power thing. So yeah, I would think if you were wanting to do any kind of like media encoding or anything like that, it would just be pretty terrible.
Yeah, I purchased it as my Plex server.
Yeah, I could see that.
And even though they spout that you can run Plex on it, you cannot.
Well, you can run the part that's just going to serve the file, but it's certainly not going to be able to do any of the encoding or any of that. But yeah.
Yeah, the first couple of years of running Plex didn't work for me because it was on the Synology. And as soon as I put it on something else.
Did you think it was the Synology device, or did you think Plex was no good?
Oh, I immediately knew it was the Synology device. I could see it sucking down all the resources and not responding and rebooting, and yeah, no, it was very, very clearly what the issue was.
No in-depth troubleshooting.
No, lots of troubleshooting, trying to figure out how to get it to work, and the answer is you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have
but
to.
Yeah.
I still have to build a central server of some kind, but I don't have that much. I don't do video much. I do images and I do text, and that's very tiny.
It works as a NAS, and I think I said I was going to send it to Netminer.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, either something like that, or I looked at one point at an external hard drive enclosure so that you could just have this disks, and then, either Thunderbolt or whatever, even just USB, I guess, connection to, you could do just a low power, small form factor PC or something. If you can scrounge an old desktop from somewhere, that's kind of ideal, because then you have enough room for the disks inside, and as long as it's not, high watt, like a high TDP, like it's not going to burn a lot of electricity. But that's kind of like the best first project I always recommend for someone if they're trying to like I've had younger family members say, "Oh yeah, you were in IT. Like, how did you get started?" And I was like, "Well, I tinkered, And I was like, if you can just get a hold of like some older, old PC and just kind of throw some disks in it and, fire up Linux and, create a RAID array and, just play around with it. Like, you're not going to hurt anything." So that's how I learned everything, was just I had access to like a PC graveyard and just sat there and pieced things together and, got it working.
I want to say goodbye to everybody.
Where are you going?
Good night.
Good night.
We're on our way somewhere.
Yep.
On your way somewhere.
With a lady at his side somewhere is the only thing that he needs to know about. and where she is.
I'm
Congratulations.
getting more. Thank you very much, Netminer. We're going to get Garuda coins, more Garuda coins, and a couple other things.
Cool. Have a good trip.
Enjoy your day.
Have fun.
Nice to talk to you.
Hello.
Talk to you again. Talk to you again. Bye.
Oh, I thought we killed Lugbot.
Something's wrong.
Lugbot.
Hello. Hello.
Just throw him in a different room.
Well, I want him to be able to play the
To greet people.
the
Kick people
audio,
out.
the the themes and stuff. Trying to
You know what?
figure that out.
Do you know if there's anything like that? Where you could have like a, instead of an AI chatbot that's just text based, if like you could have one as a plugin for this, that would be kind of cool. Like have a concierge in your lobby. Like, hey, how are you today? Welcome to the Lugcast. That'd be
So
cool.
he needs to not listen.
Oh, okay. Are we afraid of Lugbot listening?
We're just afraid of Lugbot. How about that?
He can
Okay.
Echo?
talk, but you can't do.
No,
you
you should
can't-
not talk.
You can't deafen and just have the mic on. At the same time, you can do mute the mic, but you can't do deafen and unmute. Know what I mean?
Mhm.
Oh, it's a shame.
It's to prevent trolls.
I guess you're right. So I'm gonna have to configure him to not listen.
Hmm.
Wonder if I can change audio input. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Change it to like nothing.
Yeah. But if I change to nothing, then he can't accept audio. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So he can't play the themes.
Then what good would he be? Was there a movie? I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
missed the last
Let's
couple.
talk about the movie, Menno's Mind.
Menno's Mind.
I'll pull up the synopsis real quick. Not much to it, but there's a really interesting side note. Unfortunately, only got 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. They were much more generous on IMDb, and they give it a 4.4 out of 10. Let's see. Menno is a computer programmer at the resort, an enormous fun house where people can live out their fantasies in virtual reality. Feeding their personal data into a software program called The System, head of security Felix Medina is setting up a big voting fraud in order to win the presidential elections. His only concern is a group of terrorists rebelling against his plans. As an ex-colleague of their leader, Menno is forced to help them. And it's spelled Menno. It was made in 1997. It was actually made for Showtime. I didn't know at the time. I saw it on Wikipedia.
I found some of it interesting in how they were going about rigging the election.
So, go ahead.
Using some kind of subliminal messaging or messaging inside of their resort.
Pleasure Palace.
Yeah.
So it's basically, I guess, the near future. And so everybody likes to go to this resort, which is a place where you can live out your fantasies and not even virtual reality, like it really plugs into your brain, right? Isn't that the concept? Like
Yeah.
you see what's fed to you through your brain computer interface, or I don't know how to they're not really jacking you in, but
the movie starts with a guy who gets he gets shot by a firing squad, had a lethal injection, and electrocuted, but through that little virtual jack thing.
And then he got his head chopped off and died.
Oh, that's right, the guillotine.
Yeah, so he was. So it starts off with the leader of, or not a leader, but supposedly a participant in the resistance against the government, and he proclaims his innocence, which we later learned that he was probably telling the truth and everything's crooked. But so that the way they execute people is virtually, but it actually does kill them. Like, did he just have a heart attack or something?
Something. They didn't really explain that part real well.
Yeah, it had to have been a heart attack.
So he sees like the firing squad. He sees himself being electrocuted. And at the end, he sees his head getting cut off. He sees him going up to the guillotine. And I thought they were going to do like, do you remember on Star Trek, what is Deep Space Nine, when the Irish guy was captured by the aliens and they imprisoned him for 20 years, but it was just a mental simulation.
Ended up a lot longer than that, and they didn't let him loose until he killed his cellmate. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like that, like a virtualized prison sentence, but it just takes place in your mind and it only flashes by a few seconds. But no, they actually do kill them using this technology that's also available at the resort. And
then they punish one guy.
Yeah, what did they do?
They had his like dream girl there, his wife there, and that was the gratuitous nudity in this TV 14 film.
Yeah.
And they had it switch to his mother. Like midway through, and his mother like kicked him in the balls.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah.
So there's the plot is basically there's a bad guy who's running for office, and he wants to slip in a kind of like subliminal messaging into the resort for everybody to vote for him, and it's kind of like just an espionage thriller, political thriller, but it's got a lot of interesting technology in it.
And that was the guy that played Syke's dad.
Yeah, so this is the part I really wanted to get to, was the cast, because it's basically
Worf, Rocketeer.
First off, you've got Bruce Campbell, who's kind of the leader of the resistance. He plays this guy Mick Dorough. Billy Campbell, I don't really know about it. He's Menno.
Played the Rocketeer.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't recognize him.
It took me a while to figure out where I remembered him from because he just seemed so familiar. But yeah, he's the guy that played the Rocketeer.
So Corbin Burnson, who is like one of the major character actors still living today, that's always played the bad guy and everything. He's been in a million things. If you see him, you'll recognize him. Robert Picardo, who was in Star Trek Voyager as the Doctor. There's a lot of Star Trek connections here. Michael Dorn, who played Worf in Next Generation, also was in Deep Space Nine, playing Worf. There's Robert Vaughn, who's not in Star Trek, but he's been in a lot of stuff too. There's also, I don't know if you remember this guy, he was the old man that came in and wanted to see his wife once again, who died.
Not his wife, the girl he fell in love with that he couldn't chase.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
His name is Bill Irwin. He's been in a ton of westerns, but he was also in Next Generation as an old mentor of Crusher. And so he was in this. I think that's all the Star Trek connections I found. But all the other actors have been in all kinds of sci-fi movies in the 90s and stuff. And so the most interesting part of the movie, I think, was just spotting all the character actors from different sci-fi series and movies and things like that to me. I mean, it was okay. I didn't hate it. But it was
the
fine.
cast was there, but it was just not
Story
much of a
wasn't?
movie.
Yeah, it was
No.
kind of by the numbers too, you know.
Right.
But it did have a lot of interesting technology in it, mainly the brain-computer interface stuff. And
The big thing was Bruce Campbell's character was dying because they tried
Got
to
shot.
arrest him. Yeah, he got shot. And then he broke into the building where they were doing this resort and then basically downloaded his brain onto a disk. And then they forced the Rocketeer, Menno, to upload his brain into his, or the other guy's
Bruce Campbell's brain into his brain, yeah.
And it didn't work quite the way you would expect, but he was getting all the memories from the guy, so...
Yeah, like the guy's, Bruce Campbell's partner as part of the Resistance was this woman that he was in love with, and she recognized that was Bruce Campbell's memories and things like that. So the problem I have with this kind of technology is that I have seen it in a lot of movies, not just this mind computer interface stuff, but I think, like, if you look at history, like when arcades were huge, and then here comes the console and kind of wiped out the arcade industry, except for like retro video games that are coming back now and bars that are arcades. But as far as what the arcade industry used to be, it's nothing like it was. I'm sure there's other examples of technology once it enters the home, kind of wiping out these centers of technology. You know, I'm sure streaming really hit hard, movie theaters and things like that. When it was first introduced as, you know, home video
killed off
in
the
general.
video store.
Yeah, it killed off the video store. So in this movie they have what is it called? The resort, which is the only place I assume that you can jack in and have these kinds of virtual fantasies and stuff. But I think eventually when that technology comes to home, these places will cease to exist. So there's always some kind of centralized home for this technology that eventually gets, you know, wiped away when that technology is freely available.
I just found it interesting that they were talking about media being used to influence votes, which has been a major topic.
Yeah, that's another thing I didn't think about. Kind of ties into today, the zeitgeist.
And that's, you know, been a major topic now for the past couple of elections. Just talking about how people can be so heavily influenced just by the algorithms on TikTok or X or Facebook or anything like that. So you have this, which is much more complex, but still the same idea. So maybe this movie was just that far ahead of its time.
Yeah, that's why people don't appreciate it.
It's not that the acting was wooden, the story was garbage.
There was nobody as wooden as the main actor.
Menno.
That's the most wooden character in the entire. Everybody's wooden.
Bruce Campbell was pretty good, I thought.
Bruce Campbell was good. Corbin Burnson was good.
Yeah, Corbin Burnson was a real slimy guy.
Everybody else was pretty wooden. So real quick, the end. Were they still pinning everything on Menno?
No, because his coworker had the disc.
But if you watch the news thing at the end, it was basically saying it was. I'm pretty sure it was basically saying that it was still all Menno.
Yeah, but I think it was just inferred that all that was going to be kind of wrapped up, and that the disk was going to provide all the evidence they needed, and they were able to get rid of the. Oh yeah, my favorite scene is when they. I think I wrote this in Matrix 2, is when they're getting ready to erase the data, and Menno says we have to find a way into their online security, the resorts, and his coworker says, "What about a worm?" And he says, "No, it's not. A worm isn't strong enough." But wait, what if we used a worm to get inside and then initiate a megavirus? And
didn't they re-download Bruce Campbell back into it?
So what they did was they had the disk with Bruce Campbell's memories on it, and the worm was a way to get Bruce Campbell into the system of the resort, and the animation for the eating of the data was a bunch of CGI worms that were eating the UI on screen, and that was symbolizing eating all the data.
So they did it before hackers did it.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty funny. Another example of Hollywood hacking.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that was probably my favorite part of the movie.
They did it too when they put that disc thing into the computer. It showed a weird little thing where it was already in the computer, but somehow it had to follow down some little trail into getting connected into another spot.
Yeah, I remember.
When everybody jacked in, it showed that too.
Wasn't the disc smoking when they first pulled it out after the brain transfer?
Yeah, there were some sparks and stuff, and it was smoking.
And everything was still usable.
Mm-hmm. Despite the magic smoke.
Right. I've never had anything still be usable after I let the magic smoke out.
That was interesting. So what do you? I say a thumbs up. I mean, it was
I cannot, in good conscience, recommend anybody watch this movie ever.
Why? It's not bad.
Not terrible.
It's not terrible, but it's not worth watching either. It's not bad enough that I would recommend it based on it being horrible, but it's not good enough that I would recommend anybody actually watch it.
Well, we're not recommending that somebody go out and watch it.
Yeah, just what we thought about it.
Right.
Would you say it was entertaining enough to get a thumbs up, or
I'm going to have to give it a neutral.
Okay, you get a half a star. I give it a full star. Honkey gives it a star. What about you, Lovecraft? Did you watch it?
I want to go thumbs up. Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know. Michael Dorn really disappointed me with his acting chops a little bit.
Yeah.
I was expecting a little bit more, but given the time period it was created in, I'm giving it a thumbs up.
And also, part of that thumbs up for me is for the cast too. I just liked kind of spotting all the actors that I recognized from.
It was the who's who of B actors.
Mm-hmm. Character actors and sci-fi from that era and fantasy and stuff like that. Yeah, I like that. So if you're into that, check it out. Can't say much about the story and stuff. So he already had an Alexa in his apartment. Menno did.
That I found interesting.
Yeah.
The voice interactions in 1996, when this movie was made, they were predicting the future with that one.
So what did he have? Turn the shower on. His food was to be 112 degrees, something like that.
Something like that.
It's still at a microwave. But...
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. Let's see. Should we pick the next movie? The Adderall Diaries from 2016.
Adderall Diaries.
That's a tech movie?
I don't know. I've never heard of it.
That's an incredible name.
It's got James Franco, Ed Harris. Elliot, a troubled former successful writer, decides to write about a missing wife and the following murder trial of her husband. What does this have to do with technology? Got to be more to it than that, right?
Sounds like a no-go.
It's on the list.
It does not look like a tech movie.
Looks like just a regular drama. Let's see. Let me see Wikipedia.
True crime memoir book.
Oh, here we go. Stephen Elliott, a successful author with a troubled childhood. His mother died when he was a child. From his adolescence, Stephen has lived most of his life behaving very destructively, abusing drugs, of which Adderall is an example. Now in his 30s, Stephen accepts a deal to write his next book about Hans Reiser, who developed the Reiser FS file system. Hans has a volatile marriage and his wife has recently gone missing. Despite Hans's claims that his wife has simply gone into hiding to hurt him, the police arrested him on suspicion of murder. I think that's the only connection with technology. The rest seems fairly regular drama. Yeah. I don't think it's really technology related except for that. What do you guys say?
Might have to skip it.
Yeah, I think it's skip it. Must have been more than
it's pretty tangential at best.
Yeah. Well, let's try it again. Here, let's see.
Most of our movies are pretty tangential at best.
Yeah, but that has
but this is a leap.
Yeah. The Circle from 2017. Let's see.
Circle 2017. Well, at least it's got a decent cast.
Oh, okay. Yeah. A woman lands a dream job at a powerful tech company called The Circle, only to uncover an agenda that will affect the lives of all humanity.
Emma Watson, Tom Hanks, Bill Paxton.
Jesus.
It's on Tubi.
Okay.
Oh, right, it's on Tubi.
Karen Gillian. Patton Oswalt.
It does have a
Glenn
big
I
cast.
expected this to be something then, and I guess it
Yeah.
wasn't. Is there any? Can anyone see the rating? Is it like not the content rating, but the critic rating?
Box office reception.
On IMDb, it gets a 5.4 out of 10.
It grossed $40 million out of $18 million, so it was a commercial success.
Oh, it only cost $18 million to make it in 2017.
That sounds low, right?
It sure does. It does. I mean, it's fine if it did, but shit, that cast. I mean, my God, Tom Hanks alone and Emma Watson.
Okay, however, the film underperformed, debuting at number 5 with $9 million behind The Fate of the Furious, How to Be a Latin Lover, Bahubali 2, The Conclusion, and The Boss Baby. Bahubali 2.
So the first 5 reviews on IMDb says good concept, bad execution, 4 out of 10. Frustrates more than it intrigues, 4 out of 10. What is this movie? 4 out of 10. Hollywood, please give real screenwriters a chance. 3 out of 10.
On review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 15% based on 144 reviews, with an average rating of 4.2 out of 10.
So
Circle assembles. Yes.
Yeah, basically, right.
The Circle assembles an impressive cast, but this digitally driven thriller spins aimlessly in its half-hearted exploration of timely themes. On Metacritic, it holds a score of 43 out of 100, based on 32 critics. On CinemaScore, they gave the film an average grade of D+ on an A+ to F scale.
Wow. It's amazing how Tom Hanks has made some really terrible movies. And you'd think he, of anyone, would just like never take a questionable script. But
Well,
it just shows
he
you
tries
that
to
the
reach.
acting doesn't really make, you know what I mean? Like you could have a cast like that and
Like,
still.
Nicolas Cage is, a very popular actor, but I would say more of his movies suck than are any good.
Yes, but that's sort of the allure of him in a way, is that
Yeah.
he's like the ultimate B actor who has actually been an A-list from time to time. Like he's had those moments of like brilliance, but at the same time, yeah, he often is just such a. I showed my daughter what's the vampire one he was in when he was younger. The one he's really famous for being such a like wigging out in it and being crazy. Shit, I can't remember. Anyway, I showed her clips of that because she saw him in something else and she's like, "Oh, he's such a good actor." I'm like, "Yeah, but people like to make fun of him." And she's like, "Why do they make fun of him?" So I started showing her clips of him, and she's like, "Oh, oh god." I guess I guess you can never know if something's going to be good or not. But even if it's not successful, you'd think like
They still read the script. Yes,
yeah,
this
exactly.
sounds good.
How much am I getting paid? Yes, Vampire's Kiss. You're right.
That's the key.
I
The
heard
one
that
where he played an angel?
Yes.
Oh yeah, wasn't the one
Played an angel and then he fell to be with a woman and she immediately turned around and died?
What was the one with Meg Ryan where they died and she came back? Or it's really confusing. It wasn't him though. Never mind. I'm thinking. I don't think that was him. That was someone else. That was a very.
We got was it Willy's Wonderland where he doesn't speak the entire movie? He just
Angels. Mortensen knows
that was
like every
quality.
movie.
That was some of his best acting ever.
Out of Demon.
Yeah, he just drinks grape soda and beats up Chuck E. Cheese monsters or whatever.
Yes.
Look,
such a great movie.
The first Ghost Rider movie was awesome. Then he made the second one.
Yeah. Ghost Rider was okay.
It is City of Angels. It's exactly what I was thinking of. Good job. I can't remember. I can't believe I remembered that.
I agree. That movie was awesome.
You know, I started watching it, and I guess I just didn't get it, or it started a little slower than I expected.
It's an extremely slow movie altogether.
Okay, then maybe that was it.
What is the one where he plays himself? That just came out recently.
He knew what he was. I have. I'm using Mumble, which is it's reading Mordensen's comments out, his chat out in a little voice, which I thought was Lugbot for a minute.
Is that the one coping with the massive, success or something like that?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That was good.
Scenario.
Well, I guess I'll have to go back and watch it then, because I've seen enough clips of it now that it's like I should just go watch it.
No, that's not the movie that we're talking about. Dream Scenario. That's the one where women start dreaming about him or something.
Oh yeah, that was based around like a viral marketing campaign that "Have you seen this man?" or something like that, and he was showing up in dreams. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like something that like really happened. I think it was like some European marketing agency started putting out these like flyers and stuff like that, and they made the movie around it or something. But you've always got Mandy if you really want some good Nick Cage.
Yeah, I like Mandy. I like Drive Angry too. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, that was good too. Yeah,
that is full bore Nick Cage. No messing around. Totally overacting and great.
That one he did where it was a fighting movie, and it was somewhat recently.
Oh, Jujitsu.
Jitsu.
Do you guys use any kind of a, I guess like I'm not sure exactly what you'd call this thing, but I use it's called Real Good, and basically it allows me to search up different titles of movies and television, and then I can see whether or not it's on any of my streaming services, and I can save things to like my watch list, and then it'll notify me whenever things come up to watch.
No,
I think there's a more
it.
prominent one than Real Good, but anyway, every time you guys tell me about a good movie, I search it up and then add it. Yeah, you're right. You could use Plex too. I probably should just do that, honestly.
Kill the bot.
Why is it?
I'm looking at the movies that he's most known for, and that's Face Off, Leaving Las Vegas, The Rock, Next, and I never really got into Leaving Las Vegas, but I thought Face Off was good, not great, good, despite having a shit script.
Yeah.
And then The Rock was, all around kind of awesome. And then Next, I think I'm one of the. I don't think a lot of people actually liked the movie Next.
The Rock was pretty good for the time period, given like what other stuff was coming out. Like it was a pretty solid action movie for the time. I actually saw it not long ago. At least I only saw like the last half hour of it, but it's pretty solid. If you watch it again, and Sean Connery's, it's silly that like he's going in as like a commando. He's like 65 years old. It's like, come on, man. But anyway, yeah, it's the design.
It was confirmed that he was actually supposed to be James Bond 007, but locked up for years.
Oh, okay.
And that other movie you were talking about was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, where he actually played Nicholas Kim Coppola.
But he still played Nicolas Cage.
He did. He played both Nick Cage and Nicky as Nicholas Kim Coppola.
Okay. That was actually a pretty funny movie. Just looking at the long list of movies that he's done.
Right? I forgot that he was in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as Spider Noir.
Oh, so there's some board games I played that you guys might be interested in. I'll put them in the show notes.
Linux Gamecast.
Yeah. A different kind of game.
But it's board game cast.
So
you have a little song for that one, or
if I could get Lugcast to work right, I would. Let's see. The first one was called Project L. Bringing that up now.
He was in a movie called Werewolf Women of the SS.
Sounds like a classic.
Must have been like
definitely he just doesn't say no kind of guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Which means he's either a gajillionaire or he has no money at all.
Well, I know he got taxed into bankruptcy. Yeah.
The Werewolf SS movie, I think that was just the trailer between Planet Terror and Grindhouse. Yeah. I would love for him to make that into a movie, though.
Right.
They ended up in Machete.
Machete did well. But they did that another one based on one of those, and it did horribly.
Firefox.
Danny, what happened?
Firefox sucks. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. Okay, I put the Project L in the show notes. So what it is? It's like it's kind of like a mini version of Tetris. It's pretty cool. It's you get these like tile cards that have kind of small like puzzles on them, and each turn you draw a tile card and you draw a piece, like a puzzle piece, and you can trade up puzzle pieces. Like the lowest one is a yellow square, and on your next turn you can upgrade it to like a two piece rectangle and like that, and you can draw a tile on your square, and then you get three turns each turn. So you get 3 actions each turn. So you can either draw a tile piece, you can draw a puzzle piece, or you can place your tile piece on or your puzzle piece on the tile piece to try to complete the puzzle. And if you complete a puzzle, it has a point number on the top left of the tile and a puzzle piece on the top right, and those are your 2 rewards. And after all the tile pieces are gone, you add whoever has the highest score wins the game. And that one's called Project L, and that one was a lot of fun. Another one we played was called Nekojima, which is kind of like an upgraded version of what do you call it? Jenga. But in this case, you're building like telephone poles or electric lines, I guess, electric line poles. I put the link for that in the show notes. And you're trying not to cross the wires, and you roll a dice to see which district you put your pole in, and at the same time, if you have a black cube, you can give that to somebody else that's playing, and they have to try and hang a black cat piece on one of the electrical lines without knocking over the poles. And so there's not really a winner, but there's definitely a loser. Whoever knocks over the poles is the loser. So it's kind of like Jenga. That was fun. Another one we played was called, I believe, Plague Incorporated was the name of it. So they have this as a mobile game as well, and also Pandemic, I think, is another board game that's real similar. I believe that's a mobile game too. Let's see if I can get that in the show notes here. Yes. Okay. So basically it's okay, it's based on the video game. I didn't know that. I thought the video game was based on the board game. So you play as a disease, and you're trying to wipe out the rest of the world, and it's played with cards, and you get your own like disease board in front of you as well as a board of the world, kind of. And that one's interesting. That one's called Plague Incorporated. I thought Project L was probably my favorite. And there's another one that's kind of a slow-moving strategy game called Harmonies that we played. And that one was pretty cool too. And you can play it, Harmonies. It makes for a good 2-player game too. Let's see, it's a French game. I don't know if the website is in French or not. Yes. Not. Harmonies. All right. And so what you're doing is you're building a kind of like a habitat for your animals, and they have to be like using these tiles on a board, and only certain tiles can go together, and then you put a little animal cube on it, and you get points depending on your habitats and animals and stuff like that. And that one's kind of a nice, fun, relaxing game. Play with up to 4 players, I think. Yeah, 1 to 4 players. I don't know how you play a 1-player game, but anyway, that's how that goes. So those are the ones we played. And some party games we've played before. These were all new to us that we played. We played Tapple, which is a lot of fun, and that's kind of like a it's just like a big round game piece in the middle that's got the alphabet that goes around it, and it has a buzzer in the middle. So you pull a card, and it has it'll say like movies, and you have to name a movie that begins with whatever letter that you tap. And once you tap that letter, it's out of play for the rest of the game. And so you hit the buzzer, and the next person has like 15 or 20 seconds to name another movie from a letter that they hit. And you just keep eliminating letters until somebody can't name, like a movie, since that's a category. And then once that person goes out, the rest of the people are still in, and you keep going until there's just one person remaining. That's pretty fun. It's a fast-paced kind of category, like a categories type of game. But yeah, board games are a lot of fun. Your family or your friends. They're definitely kind of a renaissance of board games now, coming back. And there's so many board games out there that I didn't know about. We went to this board game store in Plano. Let me see what it's called. It had like thousands of board games. Most of them I hadn't heard of. Because they had a sale, buy 2, get 1 free. Oh, it's called Madness Games and Comics. I'll put that in the show notes too. But it's huge. Not far from you, Joe. And there were people in the back that were playing.
Madness Comics?
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's a cool place.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of tables in the back where people were playing Magic.
Been there on their
together.
game night too.
Yeah. So anyway, we played a lot of games, and for New Year's Eve had a lot of drinks, a lot of games, and just had a good time. Stayed off the streets.
It kind of stinks. I like playing board games and stuff like that, but to find a group of people that are willing to actually like sit, pay attention, play the game, not be distracted, like it's not always easy.
Yeah, you need to find the right game. Like out of these games, I would say definitely not Harmonies. Nekojima was probably the most party-like game, since it's real similar to Jenga.
You said it's like Tetris? Oh, no, Jenga.
It's more like Jenga. And then the Project L is kind of like Tetris. But any games that you don't have to use your brain a lot kind of makes for good party games. And especially games where people can knock stuff over, like Nekojima. That's a good one.
Well, or long games too. I played Monopoly for the first time with my daughter earlier this year, and it was the 3 of us, and it took us like 4 days to finish one game.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend like busting out the Risk game for a party atmosphere.
Oh, I love that game so much, though.
But it's very long.
It is. But I had the video game version of it when I was young, and I enjoyed that. Same with Monopoly on NES. Like I could play Monopoly on NES for like, I don't know. I really enjoyed it because then you don't even have to deal with pieces or anything. You just kind of
right.
Anyway. Yep. Yeah. We played. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called Mexican Trains. It's basically you play with.
I played that with my grandma.
Yeah, I played that before.
Yeah, my in-laws like it like that, so we played that a couple nights. It's fun. I didn't win one freaking game.
My family likes to
probably
play
played-
mahjong with the tiles, you know.
Oh, cool. I've never played with a physical version of that. I've only
Yeah, it's a
ever
lot
done
of
it on the
fun.
computer.
Yeah. Real similar to Gin, like the card game.
Oh, it's
Gin
not just like
Rummy.
matching? What do you do?
Yeah, it is.
I'll have to look up how to play that.
You're trying to make books, which is meant either like tiles that are the same, or tiles in a sequence like 2, 3, 4, or characters
Oh,
that
in a
go together.
sequence.
Yeah, so
Oh,
it's
that's cool.
real similar to Gin Rummy, except in tile
Yeah.
form. There's all kinds of ways to
I played-
score and stuff, but usually we just play. Whoever gets mahjong wins the game.
I tell my daughter that, like, growing up, I was like, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have computers, really, we didn't have the internet. We had 3 channels on television. Like, we would sit and just entertain ourselves. So I played every card game you can imagine, like
Us
all
too.
kinds of board games. Yeah, just like we did so much of that, and it was like constant, every day.
What's so great
And,
about it is the very social activity, instead of just
Yeah,
staring at your
yeah.
phone.
Yeah,
So it's
no
good for
kidding.
families, good for friends. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, now it's like there were 5 of us for Christmas, and there were lots of times where literally all 5 of us were just sitting there looking at our phones.
Yeah,
Like, wow,
it's
this is
sad.
insane.
That's reality now.
Definitely. Couldn't have just stayed at home and done this.
Right. Yeah. No, when me and my family get together, we play a lot of games. We really enjoy that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Can I have your family?
Well, you can't have my family, but you're definitely welcome to join us.
Actually, we do a lot. The one thing we do a lot that I enjoy is puzzles, and I know it's like kind of like silly and boring, but I do
No,
like,
puzzles are cool.
Yeah.
Plus, it gives you a chance to sit down together and talk and stuff.
Yeah. It's fun. It's cooperative. Exactly. Collaborative.
Yeah, my mom's really gotten into these. So she's a big Temu addict, that app with all the cheap Chinese shit on there. And she's buying all these really cool like wooden puzzles on there, and also these knockoff of the Legos that are the real tiny Legos, the little mini blocks. And she builds like all the, it'd be like a pagoda or just all kinds of buildings and structures and stuff like that. She's really into that. And that's kind of hard to do together because the blocks are so small and you go in stages and stuff. But the puzzles are really fun, the wooden puzzles she gets. So.
You reminded me of doing models as a kid. Did you guys do models? I built a lot of
Oh,
cars
yeah.
and
I was
airplanes
really
and
into
stuff.
models.
Yeah, me too.
That was before the snap-on models when we had to use real glue and stuff.
Oh, yeah. You get all headachy from the from the strong glue.
Just put the glue in a sandwich bag and put it on your nose.
Yeah, I had every time a new car would come out, I would have the model for it.
A friend of my dad's was a great model maker. Would even drill the little holes and put in the little threads for spark plug wires and stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I remember we had a model of a Rolls Royce one time, me and my grandpa, and you had to assemble the whole engine, and you had the wires and all that stuff. It was neat.
So I watched not long ago, the people who make like models, like do the real,
right,
historic kind of stuff. So I watched a guy that made like the Bismarck, and it was absolutely mind-bending the amount of time and effort he put into not only building the model. It was a kit, but he had ended up doing like a lot of custom stuff as well. And then he added like extra stuff, and then like the correct paint job for like when it was in this particular configuration, and flags, and just on and on and on. I mean, to the point where it's like I don't think I have enough patience to do anything like that, but it was so impressive to watch it, condensed down in like a 20-minute video.
Yeah, that's super cool. I think it is.
Yeah. Oh, By the way, guys, there's not only that kind of model that's super accurate, but I remember watching on YouTube, they actually have models that shoot at each other with like pellet guns.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've seen that where it's like an RC model where they put it on actual like water, and then they'll have like ship battles and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That's cool.
But they have people they'll do like construction equipment, and then they'll just like sit there and like pretend like they're building something, and like they'll have someone that's on the dump truck and someone that's on the excavator and someone who's on the bulldozer. It's just like, okay. Like if I was 9, I'd be like, this is the coolest thing ever.
You know what was really
So
cool to
now it's
me
kinda like-
was watching people do the what do you call it? When they make the model trains and they make like the realistic landscapes that go with it and stuff. I thought that's really interesting to me too.
I did that. Yep. I commandeered my grandfather's pool table when I was probably 8 or 9, and we had a sheet of plywood, and yeah, I put down all the tracks and everything, and then I'd get different like it was a mixture of kits and then home built stuff. But yeah, I had like all the lighting in it, and yeah, it was. I spent probably two years doing that, and
That's
got
pretty
it all
cool.
built up. Yeah, I kind of wish I still had it. Like it's one of those things I'd at least like to take a look at now. I don't think I'd want to store it, but yeah, it's pretty cool. And the higher gauge, like the bigger trains, always were just so impressive to me. My uncle had a wasn't it like H something like H1, H0, something like that. I don't know.
The HO.
Yeah, HO. That's what it was, right? And so he had the HO stuff, and you could put a pellet in the smokestack, and it would like puff as it went around. I always thought that was like the most insanely cool thing. The cabs would light up, like the cars would light up, and yeah, it was pretty sweet. They're expensive though. But yeah, I think that kind of stuff. I don't know if people. I mean, I guess I don't know if younger people doing that kind of stuff anymore. I don't know. I wonder.
Oh, I'm sure there are. It's just not as common, you know.
Well,
There's
also,
alternative forms of entertainment.
Also, it's gotten more sophisticated with all kinds of digital controls and
microcontrollers and all that.
Yeah, and stuff.
I had friends that were into trains when I was a kid, you know, building the models and stuff. But also, like, remember those Christmas landscapes? I had friends that were big into those. And mostly that wasn't, you know, like putting stuff together yourself, but that was buying all the different city pieces and then laying them out and then getting the fake grass and stuff and the fake trees and putting it all together. I've known some people that were into that type of thing.
You know what my mom used to do when she was younger? I was little bitty, but I remember this. She didn't play Dungeons and Dragons, but she bought the little pewter figures, you know, and she would paint them, and they'd like paint the
minis.
Yeah, the little pewter figurines that were like your I don't know, barbarian and your wizard and stuff. And they were super cool, you know. She just liked painting the figures. She didn't even play the game.
I'm trying to think of what was either a movie or TV show. One of the characters was like really big into soldiers, you know, like battlefields, and they did that same thing. They would have like the, you know, Revolutionary War or something, and they'd have all of the different soldiers, like the Hessians and all the different.
There's still a large community around painting Warhammer figurines.
Oh, I forgot about Warhammer.
Yeah, that's true. But the Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, yeah, I've seen some of those. Oh, there's a sushi place around here that is like they're like actual Japanese people who have this. They have their collection of all of their like mecha and like all their figurines and stuff from Japan. And yeah, they have them like in cases around, And yeah, it's so cool to like walk around and look at all their stuff. Like they'll get new stuff and put it in the front on display. Yeah, it's pretty badass.
Ready Player One again.
I mean, I know that I said I wouldn't, that I'm not a collector of stuff, and I'm really not, but like there is some of that is just like, it's cool enough for me to want, you know, at least a couple of them.
Well, excuse me, gentlemen, but I'm running out of gas.
Yeah, I gotta work in the morning.
Yeah, I'm getting tired too.
Okay.
Me too. All right. Let's see. All right, our next recording date will be January 17th, 2025. Our music is Downright provided by Klaatu and Broam, and we'd like to thank Minnix for the Mumble server, Matrix server, Lemmy server, Jitsi server,
Lugbot.
No, we don't want to thank him.
No, you already did. Too late.
We will
Can't take
be
it back.
He didn't mean it.
Yeah.
That was sarcasm.
That was something, all right. All right. I've been your host this evening, Honkey Magoo. With us tonight has been Eric.
Have a wonderful couple weeks.
Joe.
Good night.
Lovecraft.
Have a good night, everybody.
Minnix.
Happy New Year, guys.
And Netminer.
Good night, everybody. See you in a couple of weeks.
Good night, everybody.